very much for joining us today for the England team announcement for England versus Scotland in the Guinness Six Nations. We have England head coach Steve Borthwick here, who I'll pass over to for a couple of opening remarks before we come to questions. Thank you, Steve.
First of all, thank you for coming today. There's very few fixtures in the rugby calendar that excite players and supporters alike more than the annual fixture between England and Scotland in the Six Nations Championship, as both teams battle out for the honour of lifting the Calcutta Cup. The England team that will play this weekend against Scotland, I think, has great experienced players. I think it also has exciting young talent and new combinations that will complement that experience. I know that the players are determined to represent their country with a pride, a commitment and a fight that our supporters rightly deserve and expect. We're really looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thanks. Russ, we'll come to you first, please. Thanks.
Hi there, Steve. A few talking points. Can we just go first of all with your very exciting looking back three? Ollie Hassel-Collins getting a chance to make his debut. Recall from Max Malins. Just tell me a bit about that and the balance out wide.
Yeah, well, I think it is exciting. I think when you start looking at the competition for places in that back three, I think it's very exciting. I think Ollie Hassel-Collins has been playing well, not just this season, but last season as well. He has power, speed, athleticism. Max Malins has the ability to find the ball. The way he comes off his wing, he finds space. And Freddie Steward's ability for under the high ball, his ability defensively, and also what we've seen is finishing try-scoring opportunities in that final third, which I think has developed into a real strength of his.
Always good to have a Curry in the back row. Ben Curry, obviously, with Tom out here in a bit after his first chance. Cracking story, isn't it?
It is. I think Ben has worked really hard for this opportunity in the England team, and whenever there are opportunities, sometimes they come along with the nature of injuries, and it's up to the players to grab that opportunity. I'm excited for him, excited for this new back row trio. And I think you also look at Ben Earl, who's going to come off the bench, and I think he's another player who's played really well and been fighting for an opportunity with England. I think that you'll see that with this team, is there are a lot of players who have been fighting for an England opportunity for a fair period of time, and now they've got their opportunity.
You had so many options, obviously, in the midfield. You have decided to go with Owen Farrell outside Marcus Smith, Joe Marchant back in at 13 and Jack at 9. You did have a lot of options. Can you tell me a bit about your thinking and whether it was a tough decision to decide to go with Marcus and Owen in that same team after some have maybe questioned whether it really works at the top level?
Yeah, I think that it's the right combination for this game. I think Joe Marchant at 13 works really well with Marcus. I think you see how those two connect, both with ball in hand, the way those great attacking kicks that Marcus has, the way Joe finds those. I think Owen has played really well in the 12 shirt over many years for England, and we've had some of England's best performances have been with Owen in the 12 shirt, and the British Lions with Owen in the 12 shirt. So, and he's certainly talked to me in the past about the ability and how he enjoys playing with another ball player. I think there's competition at the 9 shirt, and I think Jack Van Poortvliet has done really well. And you start looking, as we start discussing like that, I think you start seeing the excitement we have in this back line, and players who have not made this team but will be fighting to be into the next team. So players have earned their opportunity, and now it's about going out on Saturday and performing.
And just finally from me, how important that Jamie George has made it through the concussion protocol, given no Luke Cowan-Dickie, that leadership, that important 2 shirt?
Yeah, clearly Jamie is a top quality player and really one of those experienced internationals who adds more than just his play. He adds with his personality, he adds with his leadership, he adds with that wealth of experience he has. There are players unavailable. I think I'm not going to sit here and talk about players that are available. I think I've said that. Every team has to deal with injuries. What I think is this is an exciting team. I think we've got some really experienced players, and we've got some players that are fairly new to the international environment, and I think we've got players that have played international rugby and have then been out of it for some time, and I think they've been wanting to get back in. And that's the sense I've got of them. They are desperate to go out and play well for England. They're desperate to get out there at Twickenham this weekend in front of our supporters again. Hear that crowd cheering them on. That's the sense of excitement I get from these players.
Thanks. Nick, we'll come to you.
I see. I know obviously Manu isn't involved. Is he totally fit for selection?
Yes.
I mean, obviously, for such a long time, he's been available. He's been such a go-to guy. Why was it the right time to pick Joe instead, not to use him this time?
Well, I think, again, I look at the combinations for the game, this specific game, and I look at what Joe offers in terms of that work on the edge, his ability to cover ground defensively, attack. And I think Ollie Lawrence has played tremendously well this season. I think we'll always be excited by seeing Ollie Lawrence out there again in England shirt. Again, he's a player who's not been in the international environment for a year or two. But from that, I think you see players that are playing well. I think everyone would say Joe Marchant, whether it's been at centre or wing, he has played well week in, week out for Harlequins for a considerable period of time now. And I think he said the same for Ollie Lawrence. And again, I come back to this, that what challenge for selection these players have, that they're working hard to deserve their opportunity. And they're desperate for that opportunity. And right now, as we look towards Scotland and we look towards this game on Saturday, and the players can't wait to get on the pitch. And personally, I can't wait to see them get on the pitch.
I totally appreciate what you're saying about focusing on the players that are here, but just for Manu, he's obviously got opportunity to get back in moving forward, hasn't he? It's not sort of a drastic thing in the long run in this situation.
I said to every player, I'm picking a team for this week. And I think there is competition in place. And the nature is that there should always be good players that aren't in the 23, because that's what we want with England. We want depth in every position, people competing for the shirt. I think we'd all agree with that. And what I've seen here is players fighting for the shirt, and then you make the selection for the game, this weekend against a specific opponent, and then next week is a new week. Yeah, and I'm delighted for him. Again, the back row, there's plenty of competition in the back row. And I think Alex has been played well. And I think what's one thing you'll see here is that these are players who played well in the Premiership in Europe. And I said we're watching those players week in, week out, and we have. And I think these are players that have been on good form, that of executing their skills and bringing their strengths onto the pitch, and that's what I'm asking them to do, and that's what I want Alex to do this weekend.
Thanks. Julian, thanks.
Yeah, I just ask you, Steve, how did Manu take it when you told him he wasn't going to be involved this week?
Manu was the incredible professional that he is, that he... we spoke, I told him what I'd decided selection-wise and why I had, and we shook hands, and then he went and trained really hard. And you can't, that reaction is testimony to him and his character, and not just him, but there were several players in that way. And ultimately, what do we want to build here? We want to build a team that is not simply about selection. It's a team that is building and going forward to try and get wins for England, which means you've got to train hard every day. We want to build a team that is not just about getting picked, it's about going and playing well, and that's what we want as a team. We want this team playing well. And players are fighting for selection. Players are working on the training field to get into the team. They know I watch and I take notice of it. And on each of those occasions, when I have those conversations, I give the players clear feedback.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you.
Steve, you've spoken about trying to get that reconnection with the crowd at Twickenham. Fans always love to see a new winger. How exciting is it to see Ollie Collins out there?
I think there's a lot of players the fans will be excited about, and I think this is a fixture the fans will be excited about. I know I can't wait for kick-off time on Saturday afternoon. Ollie Collins Ollie Collins he's a terrific player. He's got speed, he's got pace, he takes people on the outside, he can cut back in off his left foot. He's good under the high ball, and I think, as I said, defensively he's physical. This is a guy who's over 100 kilos and 6'4", and he can hit and he can run fast. I think most of us would like to have those attributes. He's an excellent player and a fantastic young man, and he's brilliant to be in our team.
Lovely. Thanks, Nick. We'll come to you.
Steve, what kind of job are you asking Lewis Ludlam to do this weekend?
Real simple job. Bring all the strengths of why I picked him onto the field in the international environment. Simple as that. He's picked because of what he brings. He carries, he tackles, he runs, he plays with a grit and determination, and bring that. And that's why players are picked. I'm not asking them to be anything different. I'm asking them to come work together and bring those strengths. And I think you should start looking at that. We talk about Ollie Hassel-Collins. We talked about power and pace. We talked about Lewis Ludlam with his determination, his grit, his fight. You start talking about Alex Dombrandt and the skills he has, the ability he has to open space. Joe Marchant, his ability to cover ground, he kind of glides across the ground. As you start looking at that, I think this is an exciting team, and I think it's got a great blend of strengths.
I know we're working our way through most of the players. Ollie Chesham, I can only imagine, given the work that you put into him back in your old job, the ability to pick him as a starter in your first Six Nations 23 must be a big moment for both of you.
Yeah, well, I think it's him who's doing all the work. It's him who deserves all the credit for that. I think he's a fantastic young man who, whilst early in his international career, has grown immensely. And again, as I watch him, his ability to play in the second row, to play at 6, his ability to cover the ground, his ability to he's always been a fantastic line-out forward. And then the props talk to me about how hard he works in the scrum, and you want your props to say that about you as a second row. He's been superb. And again, I go back, another young man who's got such an exciting future. I think this is what makes for this team, as we look forward to Saturday, I really want to see him out there on the pitch in front of our supporters.
And last question from me, and apologies if this seems a silly question. Can you win Six Nations Championships test matches using a Premiership rugby blueprint, if that makes any sense to you? Or is there an obvious step up from what you were doing last season with Leicester?
I think I've talked several times that when you build a team the way you want to play, you got to look at the players that are available to you, the strengths that they have got, the background they've got, and the time you've got to do it in. And you maximise then every minute to those strengths. And that's what you do in any team. You've got to look at the competition you're in and how you need to play to be successful in that competition. So this is a different environment. And the process you go through is that what players you've got, what strengths they've got, what the opposition like, what wins in this competition. Let's get on with it.
Has it been easier to pick a test side over a Premiership side, and the challenges therefore that you're having to think about?
I don't necessarily think about it easy or hard, because I want players competing for places, and it's due. The players deserve that I spend due consideration and time and over selection. And then I'm able to substantiate that and talk to them about why I've made the decisions I've made, which is exactly what I do with each of the individuals.
We'll end the live press conference there. I think we're moving on to writers' briefing next, and then we'll be with broadcasters. Thanks, everyone.
Sorry.